blood spilt.
Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Ken from Bros Before Bows, back with another video. And I don't know, maybe it won't make the channel. Gotta make sure that we present the information the way we want to present it.
But I wanted to add a little background to it, just so that maybe viewers can see where we're coming from on this. We haven't really told the story. And part of the reason is we did video quite a bit of our hunt, but it's really challenging. I will give it to those guys that can go solo hunting and get it all on film. It's very challenging to catch the really juicy stuff, the action, and we failed to do that. I failed to do that, and so I had all this footage. And there's like I said, there's a story behind this hunt, and I had a hard time deciding how to put all this together to be able to do that justice, tell the story, and to give the right message, because we lacked a lot of the key information. But we were about halfway through our hunt, and we had come off the mountain for a night, and we were headed back up. I believe this is the time we got rained out, and we were headed back in, right to the spot that we were at before. We'd been hearing a lot of action, and so we literally got there within 5 minutes. We started hearing bugles. So we grabbed what we needed to go after this bull. And it was about 400 yards out, and we could tell by, the bugles it was coming in. So we wanted to get that some of that distance closed so that we didn't have a hang up or anything like that. So, but he was coming in so fast, we didn't even really get a chance to get our setup before we were already in a shot opportunity. He came straight down the hill, and I had started moving up and around. Ken was going to be our caller, and I was going to be the shooter. I started moving up and around a patch of trees. There was tons of deadfall everywhere, so it was going to be a really hard setup to get just right. But he came in. He was coming straight at me, and I saw him coming. So I found a tree to stand next to. I could still watch him, and he came straight in at me, and then he turned broadside about 15 yards. And as soon as he got behind a tree, I drew back and got set up for a shot. He moved behind a bush that had some branches that I didn't want to take the chance to shoot through these branches. I probably would have been okay, but I didn't want to take that chance. I knew if he kept moving forward, I was going to have a perfect broadside shot. He moved forward a little bit behind a tree, stood there. I want to say it was probably about 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes, that I'd been holding back, and I was starting to get shaky. Obviously, as this whole scenario starts happening, the adrenaline started to build. You get fevered up. Everybody that's hunted for very long has been in some sort of scenario like that, and it doesn't matter sometimes how many times you've been in that situation, and I have been in those situations before. You still get worked up, and especially when the scenario doesn't quite go out like without a hitch, or go off without a hitch. He kept stopping behind with something obscuring the way, so I'm drawn back, and I'm sure Ken's wondering why I haven't shot yet. And he went behind the tree after being behind the bush, and he stopped, and that's when Ken shot. And I was somewhat relieved. I was actually excited that he shot, because I don't know that I would have been able to pull off a good shot after moving forward, even having a perfect broadside 15 yards. I mean, I was shaking like, I was shaking pretty hard. Let's just put it that way. And so he shot. The elk wheeled around and took off up about 30 yards, and then he turned and stood and looked back, because he didn't see either of us at the time, so he didn't know what had happened. And I heard Ken say that he hit him back a little bit. And so when he turned not broadside, he was quartering away, facing from, so his front end was on the right. And so I drew back and estimated the yardage, and let one fly. I hit him just right up and down, but I hit too far forward. And quartering away, I hit him right in the shoulder. I could tell I hit something pretty solid as soon as the arrow hit him, because it sounded like it was bouncing off the rocks. Anyways, he wheeled around and ran up again, gave us another look at him, but he was probably 60, 70 yards away at that point, and he didn't stay there long enough for us to get another shot off on him. So that's kind of how the scenario happened. I don't want everybody to think Ken just made a bad shot. I made a bad shot too. And so that's what kicked this whole thing off. And that's hopefully leads into the footage you're gonna see of Ken talking about what happened.
Okay, September 22nd. It's been about 36 hours since we checked in last. Been a rough 36 hours.
Yeah. And
Figured.
we were just kind of just getting over, like I said, 36 hours of the last happenings, kind of the roller coaster that it just happened so fast.
Yeah.
And then it was over so fast. And then the long drudge out of trying to do our due diligence to make sure that we had tried to track this bull that we'd wounded, but who knows how bad.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I can sit and make excuses about equipment, about things, but really the way that we do our stuff is to be as good as we can, make ethical shots, make quick kills, but I just made a bad shot. There's no other way to put it. And it hurts, but it happens. And the only thing I can do to do better is make sure that I'm mentally and physically prepared for a better shot next time.
Yeah. We don't take it lightly, as you can see. Wow, so that's some pretty heavy footage to watch, even for me, and I lived it. Honest truth is we prepare quite a bit for elk hunting season, and even prior to that season, I'd shot pretty much as often as I could in the backyard and other places to try to hone my skills. But at the time when that shot presented, I didn't feel prepared as well as I could be. So that was the moment in time where I decided to do maybe something a little bit different than I had done prior to. And one of the things I decided to do is try to find more pressure situations to shoot in. So what I did was I I joined an indoor archery league, and it was a great experience for me. And so I do want to give a good shout out to the guys at North 40 here in Montana, Connor and the crew that put on the indoor archery league. It was a great experience for me, and definitely something that I'll continue to do in the future. Probably actually work in a lot more competitive archery for me in the future. I've found that, and what I'll do is probably run in a little bit of footage. During the indoor archery season, I had some really good scores, and I had some not so good scores, and I learned actually quite a bit about the pressure that's real, and the pressure that we create, and the things that we can control, and maybe some things that we can't.
So here's a little clip of the Indoor Archery League at North 40 here in Great Falls, Montana. Great guys. Like I said, Connor and those guys were really good to help us out and put on a really good indoor shoot. So what you're seeing here is me testing out a couple of different, actually 3 different hinge releases. The first one is the Too Smooth knock-on archery. It's a great hinge release if you haven't tried a hinge before. It's got great adjustment. You can adjust the 2 independent moons, the click moon and the shot moon, by they're independently adjusted. So that's a great feature to have if you're going to try a hinge. I would suggest having something that you can adjust those things. So I'm just taking a few shots with these, and you'll see, I'll walk down and show you the group here in just a second. One thing about the indoor league that North 40 put on, it's probably the least pressure setting that you can do as far as competitive archery league. They set it up to where you can, as a team, you don't necessarily have to show up the same day. You could show up sometime during the week and shoot your score. As you can see, it's a 3-face Vegas face, a 3-spot Vegas face target. And so this next release I'm showing you is the B3 Ranger, and it's got its set click. One of the things that I found out but shooting, and this is just me personally, especially with these 2 releases, I found myself kind of floating away from my anchor point, causing a little bit of right to left misses. So I don't know if that's something other people have experienced when shooting a hinge, and maybe it's the way that I activate it. If you can see, I've got my 2 fingers on there, and I'm actually kind of rotating those fingers back instead of relaxing the index. And maybe that has something to do with my draw length. I'm not sure. So like I said, this is just something new to me. When I started shooting the indoor league, I'd noticed a few guys shooting hinges, and they said that they were much more accurate with hinges. Me personally, I found that I could be accurate with the hinge. If you look at this group's pretty good. Probably one of the better groups that I shot with a hinge. Now, this last hinge is actually a Scott Focus that was originally a 4-finger hinge, but I took off that extension on the end, and I'm only using the 2 fingers. Now, if you can see, it's a little bit different angle that I'm filming at, but you can see that anchor point stays really tight to my face with this one. I actually shot the best scores with this hinge out of all the hinges that I tried. So just something there. I actually I filed off the click on this one too, just so that I could work through the release, the hinge release. So there's no click on this one. The setup that I used was a black 9, prime black 9, with I've got cutter stabilizers on that. I got a 20-inch cutter up front with a 12-inch cutter in the back with 6 ounces on the back, and I think I've got 3 ounces on the front. No magnification, just a regular black gold sight with regular scope up front. And I think I had to switch the peep sight to a 1/8 peep sight because the indoor lighting was making that housing super huge in that peep sight. So I did switch that up.
I also wanted to mention that that's just one aspect of this experience that I actually learned quite a bit from. You learn a lot about yourself, your mental attitude, and what you think about when things aren't actually going your way. But with that voiceover, you probably saw a little bit about my indoor setup. If you've got questions, thoughts, I know this is kind of a big subject, and it's kind of hard to actually define exactly what I learned and what I didn't learn. But I wanted to do something different to help me prepare for that moment in time, that those opportunities that will present to me in the future, because I know they will. And if you hunt long enough, if it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. And I hope that some of the things that I've shared are useful or helpful. I hope that they're helpful for me in 2022 for the elk season. So thanks for watching. If you like, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, we appreciate that. And remember, clean breaks and shoot straight.